All right, we're back with Basement Movie Room. And now we're reviewing the Hong Kong... I hope it's Hong Kong. Fuck, I don't remember. Hold on. We're going to look this up because I don't want to be stupid. Yeah. Infernal Affairs. 2002 film, wow. Infernal Affairs. Made in a country that is called Hong Kong. I hope. It is! It's Hong Kong, I'm right. So, Infernal Affairs you may be familiar with in that it was the inspiration for the movie The Departed, which Scorsese directed, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Martin Sheen, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, and like a host of other people, Vera Farmiga, and just a fantastic James Badge-Dale, fantastic cast.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, this is the Hong Kong film starring Andy Lau and Tony Leung, along with a number of other Hong Kong actors. You're going to
8-10 years before The Departed.
This was 2002, I think. And so The Departed was
like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's 2002. The Departed was 2006. So it's only 4 years. Yeah. It seems like it doesn't seem like long ago.
16 years.
So 4 years this movie came out before The Departed, which is the inspiration for The Departed.
Huh.
And I mean, plot-wise, you're going to feel like I'm describing The Departed.
Yeah.
Essentially,
it's a mirror. For the most part.
The crime boss and
it's a cracked mirror.
The cop that's in charge of organized crime both set people into the police force. Tony Leung plays the undercover cop, and Andy Lau plays the undercover douchebag.
Yeah.
The bad guy. Sam is the main bad guy in this movie. He is the Jack Nicholson reference. But we get this scene early on, and well, let's just go. How did you like the movie overall?
So, The Departed was a great remake of this movie. Departed here, this movie is just a click below.
Yeah, I'm the other way around.
See?
Yeah.
Because there's different things that happened in this movie that I liked a lot more in The Departed that stick out in my mind.
Yeah.
When I think of this type of movie, The Departed comes up.
Yeah.
So, couple scenes, big scenes that come to mind that I'll let you get to.
Yeah. If I even remember.
Really differentiate The Departed from this movie, which makes this one just a click below. But it's really enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I like this movie a lot.
Yeah, no, this is terrific. And I think it matters if you just saw Departed first, you probably prefer The Departed. If you I feel like I am talking like an idiot right now.
It's okay.
Because I can't talk. So, Infernal Affairs was first, 2002. The Departed, 2006. If you show The Departed first, jeez, I shouldn't be doing this.
This is fun.
If you saw The Departed first, you might like it more. If you saw this first, you might like it more. I like this one more, despite the fact I saw it after The Departed. I just think the story's tighter. But I love The Departed because I think Scorsese kind of expanded on the story.
Yeah.
But I like the tighter story in this one. And ultimately, I think it gets to the point quicker and simpler. Because The Departed is like a 2.5 hour movie. This one's a solid hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, easier watch.
Yeah, it's an easier watch if you want to read subtitles at least.
Yeah.
So,
but after a while,
I do like this one more, but it's very slight. I mean, Scorsese's style is just impeccable. Yeah. It's fantastic. His style is just unbelievable. And I'm going to be honest, straight up deft on some of the scenes in this movie. I mean, it's straight up deft. He redid some of the scenes in his movie exactly.
Yeah.
He changed them just a little bit. It's like, hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, I'll just change it a little bit, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But this movie, I think, starts sooner than The Departed does. I think what happens in this movie is like in The Departed, you get like an extended scene of like their training. Matt Damon and Leo DiCaprio's training. This movie, it's pretty clear that Sam, who is the Jack Nicholson clone, Whitey Bulger in essentially clone for The Departed, Sam is the crime boss, and he's recruited these 6 young men, and he says, "Oh, you're going to go in the police."
The Departed is more linear.
Yeah, The Departed doesn't really go into this full part. It doesn't show us that there's multiple cops that go into the police force in this part. But this opens up directly with Sam, the crime boss, saying, "Hey, here you are 6 guys. You're going to go to the police force. You're going to work for me, though, and I'm the crime boss." And Tony,
she has black hair at that time.
Andy Lau's character, granted played by a different character, goes in, and we see his training, and we also see the training of the other character, which is played by Tony Leung as a young man, going into the police force, and what they're doing, like how the police force is determining who's going to be on their force and who's going to be undercover. And you have another actor whose name I can't remember, who is like the police not captain, but the head of organized crime. Yeah. I think it's essentially what he is. And he's going through the recruits and trying to figure out who he can recruit to be his undercover officer. Did you ever see the movie The Recruit with Colin Farrell and Pacino? No, De Niro. Yeah. It was De Niro. Or was it Pacino? I don't know. It's one of the two. I think it was Pacino.
Yeah, it was Pacino.
But it's kind of similar to that, wherein that they fail somebody out of the academy because they're going to be an undercover agent, while all these other people believe they're going to be. It's similar to that, and it's before that. So obviously, I think that movie stole from this, but similar to The Departed, Billy Costigan is Leonardo DiCaprio's character in The Departed, and Tony Leung's character in this, which Yan or something like that. I can't remember his name. Officer Yan. There it is, right on the screen, right when I needed it. They fell him out of that because he's going to be an undercover officer to go into the crime syndicate to be their undercover. Meanwhile, Andy Lau's character is working through the department to become a police officer,
aka Chinese Justin Long.
That's Tony Leung.
Oh, Tony Leung.
Tony Leung is Chinese Justin Long.
Got him mixed up. Sorry.
Barbarian Part 2.
Yeah.
So we're in the same plot line as The Departed, if you've seen that, because I'm guessing more English speaking people have seen The Departed over this, at least. So we kind of show these scenes of how it's working, how he's meeting with the main officer, and how Andy Lau's character is talking to Sam and giving him information on what's going on with the police. And this is kind of a hard plot to explain without giving a ton away.
There's a lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving parts. Yeah. Like, we go over like 10 years before the real plot gets started, with Tony Leung's character being the good guy in a bad situation, and Andy Lau's character being the bad guy in a good situation, where he's trying to work his way up to discover who the mole is in the department, while Tony Leung, being the mole, is trying to discover who the mole is in the police force.
And I think this movie, like The Departed, you concentrate on these 2 characters the whole time.
Yeah.
But there's more corruption on both sides that you don't realize or don't want to realize that's going on, like who's on what side.
Yeah.
But you're so fixated on these 2 characters that, you just want to see what happens with them, and you forget about everything that's going on in both departments.
Yeah.
Or, both sides of the spectrum. So,
and right here on the screen is the stereo section, which is kind of referenced in Scorsese's film, but it's more outright, where both our main characters are listening to a stereo, because Tony Leung's character is a stereo salesman, and I'm a big stereo guy. I love my stereo equipment. I'm always looking for better speakers, better amps, things like that. And it's like, this is just like, it's porn to me to see all these ooh. It's stereo porn, not actual porn. No titties.
No.
But like these tube amps that they're selling in this movie are amazing. And it's like, that's referenced in Scorsese's version with Matt Damon's stereo system. He's got a Macintosh stereo system, which is my dream. I have an MA5100 Macintosh, which I love.
Very subtle.
But it's made in the 60s. It's very subtle in that. But
yeah.
But Tony Leung's character and Andy Lau's character are together in this scene at the beginning with stereo equipment, and Andy Lau buying the stereo equipment from Tony Leung's character, who is working a real job outside of his police undercover duty, obviously.
And this actually is a big plot point with those two. Yeah,
we get the final one of the final scenes comes into play.
This is a big scene at the beginning that leads to something big at the end,
which is almost identical to the scene in The Departed,
but on a softer level.
Yeah,
this scene plays heavy into this movie.
Oh yeah, it does. So as we're working through the movie, and the plot's hard to describe without kind of screwing everything up for you. I'm not going to super spoil the plot because it's a hard plot to describe, but it's basically, if you've seen The Departed, it's very similar plot.
Yeah. It's
Tony Leung's boss.
Like I said, it's a cracked mirror image.
Yeah. Tony Leung's boss is bringing drugs into the country. He's trying to tip off the superintendent of the police for the drugs. Meanwhile, Sam's inside man, Andy Lau, is trying to figure out when they're getting these tips, where they're getting the tips from, who the mole is. And it just it's this cat and mouse game. There's that whole scene with the theater, which is very similar to the Departed scene. Outside of the, dildo that Jack Nicholson uses in that scene. But there's that whole scene that's very, very suspenseful, to be honest. Even though it probably isn't actually that suspenseful, where Tony Leung's following Andy Lau, and Andy Lau realizes somebody's following him. He ducks around the corner and is trying to figure out who's following him because the phone rings behind him.
Goes off.
And
flip phone
they
off.
never see each other. They never see each other. They don't know who each other is.
Very well done.
In The Departed, there's a knife. Like, Matt Damon has a knife ready to kill Leo's character. In this scene, there's not that. But it's just like, it's the same difference. Because if Tony Leung's discovered, he's dead.
Yeah.
He's going to die.
They both had guns on them.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. Yeah.
In the same vein, at some point, Tony Leung and the superintendent, the officer, set up a meeting. They meet in a building, and they realize they've been had, and that they're under discovery, and that Tony Leung just needs to protect his cover. That the superintendent's whatever happens to me, I'm a cop. He gets killed. They're
always meeting on a rooftop.
Yeah,
and the mole on the other side knows. He even brings it up in this. He's like, "You cops like to meet on rooftops."
Yeah.
So
they meet on those rooftops. But at that point, the superintendent gets killed. He's the only one who knows Tony Leung's actual identity. Mm-hmm. And so Tony Leung's kind of hung up to dry at that point, and he has to make contact with the police again, where he makes contact, not realizing that the person he's making contact with is Andy Lau, who is the mole on the other side. He discovers it as he's sitting in his office and sees this document that he wrote on, which is directly the Departed.
Yeah,
took this directly from this film.
Yeah,
that he had written this, and he disappears, but his identity's been deleted. Nobody knows he's a cop at this point, and he sets up a meeting on the rooftop with Andy Lau, which leads to a lot of other. I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but
if you've seen The Departed,
you know what happens.
Know what happens,
except
to an extent.
It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. 2 sequels to this movie, not The Departed. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's hard to kind of go into the plot of this movie without giving too much away, so I'm not going to go much into it. I want to talk about like Andy Lau and Tony Leung because they're just fantastic in these roles. Man. They're super good. I do miss the Mark Wahlberg character Dignan in this movie because there's nobody like busting chops of everybody.
That character was totally erased from this version.
Yeah, well, he was added to the department.
Yeah, he was added to that. Yeah,
and he's fantastic.
I keep saying erased, but he was added.
Yeah, he was definitely added,
and that was a perfect ad.
Oh, it's so good.
2 big scenes that I don't want to really go into, I guess, without spoiling.
I think people should watch this movie.
Watch the movie. There's 2 big scenes that stand out that when I think of The Departed, 2 scenes is what does it for me. I'm like,
I'm going to say building an elevator.
Happen. Yes. Yes. And Room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. The Room scene's not. If it's the one I'm thinking, it's not going to happen in this
building. Version. Yeah. So 3: building, room, and elevator.
Yeah.
Not in that order, but.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I think of Scorsese. Oh no!
My microphone fell off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, when I think of Scorsese's movie versus this, those are the 3 main scenes that stand out. When I think of this movie, there's a couple scenes that stand out, and they're subtle scenes, like being in the, when they're testing out the speakers. That was a big scene. Yeah. And then at the end, where that comes back in the play.
Oh yeah.
That's a big scene too.
Yeah, we don't have the love triangle in this movie.
No.
That we had in the other one. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't really miss it. So.
Yeah, it didn't need to be there, and it's kind of ridiculous, to be honest, in Departed that we have that love triangle.
Yeah.
So I think that's a better part of this movie. So yeah, so this is a well done movie. If you didn't Departed and like it, you're going to like this one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You might like it better. You might like it just as much. You might think it Departed's better. I don't know.
I think it's going to add to the experience of watching The Departed.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take anything away. It adds to it, and you see where it came from.
Yeah.
And how a good director can expand on a good story.
Yeah, it's a fantastic story.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Infernal Affairs. Yeah, we go rating on this one. Feel free. It's a Criterion. I got the Criterion release of the Infernal Affairs trilogy. So this is technically a Criterion rating.
Like I said,
it's anti-vinegar syndrome.
It's a click below The Departed for me. But this movie is at a 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's a 4 or 5 for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is it's a damn near perfect movie. I think it has minor issues. Departed has minor issues as well, but I don't think it's significant. I think it's a must see.
Yeah, I think they rush through like certain relationships that need to be built.
I think that's just the nature of the way Hong Kong makes movies.
Yeah, but I mean, you kind of need that. Kind of helps out with things that happen later on with certain deaths and departures.
Yeah.
So without giving any,
it's a lot shorter movie.
Yeah.
So they had to kind of push things forward. But without this movie, we wouldn't have got The Departed.
True.
And Departed is an all-time classic. Got Scorsese his Oscar. Leo didn't get his Oscar for this one, but he got it later for The Revenant. But this is a fantastic movie. It's well deserved of all its praise that it gets, and I think it's better than The Departed. I do, just slightly. I love The Departed. I think it's a great movie. I watch it about once a year. It's well deserving, and this one as well. Yeah. So, yeah. All right, that's all I got on this one. Anything else?
That's all I got.
All right, so that's the basement movie room for this week. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you're listening to podcasts, if you're listening to it on YouTube, this has obviously been split up into 3 separate reviews.
Yes.
So thanks for enjoying those, and we will see you next time on Basement Movie Room. Follow us on Twitch.
Come back.
Follow us on Twitter if it still exists at this point.
Comment,
subscribe, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast, Basement Movie Room Podcast.
Yep.
Thanks for watching / listening. We'll see you next time.
Man, we nailed that one.
Killed it.